Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast, or if you're new, thanks for finding us. We have Hans here with us today. Mr. Hans.
Yet again.
Yes, his summer haircut, shave look.
It's too early, man. I know I'm going to have a cold skull.
We're recording this in March, so it's kind of cold still for us.
Yeah,
here.
I make only one haircut a year.
Yeah,
right?
you're a little
in
early.
In spring.
Yeah.
And then again in spring. But I was getting out of the head.
That's how you guys...
So I thought, maybe I need to cut it.
That's how you guys know about how Hans looks is when roughly it was recorded.
Yeah, it's like when I was working for oil, we were surveying up in the mountains, and there were two seasons, right? Winter and summer, and you could tell if it's winter.
Yeah.
When you had a lunch, you try to find a spot where you were sitting in sun.
Yeah.
And when that was in winter, right? And in summer you were looking for shade.
So you knew.
And it was pretty clearly defined. You know, one day you say, I better find me a shade. The next day, I better find me a sun. You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting how things work naturally. You know?
Yep. Hans, I have a question for you. What are the most important commands in dog training or training a dog, any dog? I mean,
Right. You know, there's a lot. Well, they're all important, right? But maybe I would reformulate the question: what is the most important commands you can get away with while having dog? Because when you teach dog anything like obedience or protection or anything, there's different reasons why you do that, right? So you can teach the dog in drive or competition, and then all the dog has to do all the commands, really accurately, precisely, and all that. Or you have the commands for everyday life or for whatever you can get by with, right? Being minimalist,
Yeah.
Meaning
Only the essential.
the most essential thing which can get you by with the dog in everyday life all the time. And that's what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about competition.
Yeah.
I always say half ingest.
Ingest.
Yeah.
Or jest.
Ingest, that means joke. Some people have.
I did not know that. So if you're listening or watching.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, but only half, right? Ingest. And that is most important command, I believe, is come, right?
Yeah.
And then to attack.
Yeah. If you're gonna pick
two, you can handle almost anything with that.
Yeah.
Right. And then stay, and that's it.
Yeah.
This you can. So in obedience, come and stay would be probably the most important, right? Yeah. And attack in protection.
Yeah.
If you're a protection dog.
Yeah.
Or if you have a dog for protection.
Yeah.
And so with those three commands, you can handle almost any situation.
Yeah.
The rest of the commands are taught to the dog, and I believe in order to build a relationship with the dog. So, you do down, establishing leadership position.
Heel,
all that. Make dog. Yeah. And again, in my scheme of training is to teach the dog to do things they do not want to do.
Yeah.
Because that's more important than teach them to do things so they love to do it.
Yeah. We already posted that episode.
We already have that. Yeah. But let me touch on it.
No, that's okay. I'm just saying if somebody
because if the dog does things only because he loves to, as it being taught these days, then if he loves to do something else, you have a problem, right? Because the dog is not going to listen.
Yeah.
Like today, my dog Sarko, found a dish which was dirty from a meat from feeding, and I call him come, and he ignored me, right? Because at that moment, the dish was more important to me than my cum.
Yeah.
But of course, he knows also that he can ignore it only to a point. So when I raise my voice, I say, "Foi, come," right? Then he come,
Yeah.
right? Which brings me, there's a another one which is important, but it's not really a command. It's praising or, like a good boy or no,
Yeah.
fooey,
Positive
right?
reinforcement.
Those
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
But those are not, I don't consider those commands. They're consequence of the dog's performance after the command is done. But as command itself, the single most important command, I believe, is a come, as far as obedience goes, right?
Yeah.
Because if dog is not coming to you, you have nothing. You have nothing. And so why would the dog be coming to you? There's two reasons. Most trainings these days are done in drive, so the dog's coming because you reward them with some kind of cookie or treat, and or play with a toy. That, in my opinion, is not sound reason for the dog to come because, as I already said, if the dog encounters something more interesting,
Yeah.
then your cookie
Out the window.
is being overridden by a speeding cat,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or deer or whatever.
Yeah.
So you know what I so that's when you're using treats or toys, you're teaching the dog in drive, right? They want that toy. Oh, I want that toy. Oh, I want that treat.
Yeah.
But the dogs look really good when they work for that until some distractions come, right?
Yeah.
So what I teach is different. I teach the dog to come for other reasons than toy and treat. My reason is my voice, my leadership position, which is and when the dog performs, it's my voice, good boy,
Yeah.
right, or hold me in check, what
Yeah.
I'm using, and pet, which goes in that order, right? So you say good boy, pet, pet, good boy, pet, pet, right?
Yeah.
And so when the dog so the petting does what? Induces oxytocin and endorphins and some what I call happy hormones. We already talked about
Yeah.
that. And I condition the dog that when he hears a good boy, he automatically also induces the oxytocin,
Yeah.
right?
So the sensories, maybe briefly, just since we're on the subject about the sensories, of all the sensories, touch is
Number one.
number one, just so that people are listening.
All right, so yeah, we talked about elsewhere, but again,
I know, just-
worth repeating.
Just for a second, yeah.
We have 5 senses. And if the dog encounters more than one sense at the same time, then he will prioritize which sense to go with, right? So, for example, if the dog sees something and hears something, he will more respond to what he sees than what he hears, right? Like you can throw a dog a ball, and he sees a ball, and you call him come, he doesn't want to come because he sees the ball. So sense of sight overrides sense of hearing. The number one sense which overrides all the other senses, if applied at the same time, is sense of touch.
Touch. Yeah.
Then it's sight, then it's hearing, and then it's smell and taste, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is when we train dog, we're conditioning them to respond to the voice. Now voice is what? Number 3, right? So you have touch, sight, hearing, right? So the third one is hearing. But we need the third one. I was going to say third one. The third one, we need to be the hearing. We need the hearing. I mean, what's the third? We need to be first.
Yeah.
So we bind it together through conditioning. Just like Pavlov, ring the bell, feed the dog, ring the bell, feed the dog, da-da-da, many, many times, 100 times.
Yeah.
And then the dog hears the bell, hearing,
Yeah.
and he starts salivating,
Yeah.
right? Because he got the food, right?
Yeah.
So same way we do when we do good boy, right?
Yeah.
And then we pet the dog.
Yeah.
That in binary fashion, the voice of me saying good boy is tied together with the sense of touch, and with secretion of the oxytocin and of endorphins
Yeah.
and dopamine, whatever, happy hormones.
Yeah.
And the dog Then when he
Associates.
hears "good boy," he automatically start secreting these hormones, right? And he wants them, right?
Yeah.
And that's why when I tell him to come, he knows if he comes, he will hear "good boy" and he will
Okay.
get, feel
Yeah.
the hormones, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of, I don't know, it's somewhat complicated. It's not too
No,
complicated.
but during training, when I train with Hans, and he always he looks at everybody when we're doing a training, and in the beginning I wasn't paying attention to this, but I was not petting my dog, and he always said reward the dog, pet the dog,
After the voice.
after the voice. But I mean he's adamant about that, and I didn't understand in the beginning why, but this now I understand fully, but yeah.
So anyway, so it's very very important to understand this.
Yeah.
So I don't want to have a treat or toy between me and the dog. All I want is just the direct communication, my voice and my a pet,
Yep.
right? So that's where that foundation is.
If you enjoyed this content so far, please subscribe to our channel. Also, Hans has a podcast channel called Dog Training for Life. Check that out so you can listen to the audio version.
But let's go back to come, right? Now, one of the mistakes people do is they teach the come after they make the dog to stay.
Yeah.
You know that one, right?
Yep, I made the mistake.
And when you do that, I strongly urge you against that.
Yeah.
You first, if you teach stay, don't follow it up with come,
Yeah.
right? The dog is happy to come when you say stay, but what you're doing is you're building separation anxiety into the stay.
Yeah.
Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you say stay and then you walk away from the dog and then you say come, the dog while staying is expecting you to come and he gets all anxious. And then you say come and he comes. Cool, you teach him come, but you're screwing up your stay.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And you're screwing it up because you're building into that state separation anxiety.
Yeah.
When you're teaching stay, teach it separate, and you tell the dog to stay, walk away, and then come back and then praise it.
Yeah.
So the dog learns to stay because he knows that you're going to come back, not because you're going to call him to come.
Yeah.
Right? That's really important.
Yeah.
Right? So now you can eventually say stay and come, but first you got to build the foundation and the default of the dog when you say stay means I'm going to stay and he's going to come back. Once you get that, you can call the dog to come.
Yeah.
But after stay.
Yeah.
Okay, but you do not you do not want to do it initially. You want to first make sure that the stay has a solid foundation, solid default.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So when you do come, you want to build separation anxiety into the come command, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the instincts dogs have. They are pack-oriented animals and they want to stay within the pack.
Yeah.
And when they get separated from the pack, they have a inherited anxiety and want to come back to the pack. And you can train the dog to do it on command, that separation anxiety.
Yeah.
Now, there is undesirable separation anxiety. Let's say you go to work and dog is missing you, so he's wrecking your house.
Yeah.
But that's caused by you calling the dog come after stay, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
when you do the come, and when you do the stay, you teach the dog, okay, I'm going to leave, but then I'm going to come back.
Yeah.
That's what the dog needs to learn, not that you are going to call him come.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Just,
Yeah, that's an important one to.
I know I said it several times, but I want people to
can't
get
say it enough. I
right.
think.
So what I want is if I if I teach, let's say, the dog come before the stay is finished, or even if the stay is already finished, I will never say stay first, right? So let's say I will make Gabor over there hold my puppy, and I'm walking away, and I say, come, Fifi, come, Fifi, come, Fifi, come.
Yeah.
And Fifi is getting crazy and biting Gabor and want to come to me, right? And you see I'm building, and I'm backing up,
Further away.
running backwards and calling dog, come, Fifi, come, right?
Yeah.
And with higher pitched voice, which is important because that's positive. Low pitched voice is negative. That's another podcast right there. And so always when you praising or commanding dog, use a little higher voice than normal, okay?
Yeah.
So I say, come, Fifi, come. And when she hears Fifi come, she says, oh, he's running away from me, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then at certain point, you let the puppy go, and she runs towards me, and I say, come, good girl. And she comes, and I pet her, right?
Yeah.
But you see, take a note that I did not tell her stay.
Yeah. I was holding her.
You were holding her by force, right? In your hands, right? And you can do the same thing if you really, like one of the exercises I do is I take the dog in a desert and tie it to a tree or bush or something on a chain, and I walk away. And I keep calling them, come. Now it's not Gabor, it's a tree, right? Or bush. And I keep walking, I keep saying, Fifi, come, Fifi, come, Fifi, come, or whatever the name is, right? I have the imaginary dog trained.
I like the imaginary.
Fifi and Buster, right?
Buster.
And so I keep calling, and then I go and I pick up a book.
Yeah.
And I go over the little hump or behind the rock.
Yeah.
And the dog is tied up 100 yards from me. I keep eye on it, so doesn't get somehow into trouble. Some strangers start messing with my dog or
whatever,
got tangled or whatever, okay? So I can see it, but dog cannot really see me.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this is Hans says keep your eye on the dog far away. It's not you're not walking away for half an hour and not seeing the dog.
No, you're walking away
we just want to make sure
150 feet to 100 yards.
Yeah.
And then I go downwind so the dog cannot smell me.
Yeah.
And now and then I pick up, and walk out and dog can see me. I said, Fifi, come. And Fifi, I want to come.
You do this every how many minutes then?
Now and then.
Okay.
Whatever, once every 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 minutes.
Okay.
I want the dog to be just frantic when she hears come. And what I'm doing I'm embedding in her head or in the dog's head that when they hear come, there's going to be separation anxiety. Same way when I pet the dog, I'm inducing oxytocin, endorphin. Yeah. When I say come, I don't know what I'm inducing in her head, but definitely anxiety.
Yeah.
I don't know what hormone trips that, probably adrenaline, for her to come.
Yeah.
Right. So the dog
gets triggered.
So that I'm building anxiety on command. Now, separation anxiety is not good if it's in situation where we don't want it.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I started with that stay should not be followed by come. Right. That's So but for come I build the separation anxiety in the dog on that command come or kemnie or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. And then another thing is if you want the dog to come, right, and you can squat down as the dog is coming towards you already. You squat down and clap your hands. Don't bend over because when you're bending over, that's a threat. Squatting down is invitation. That's how dogs read it. So if you have a puppy sniffing around your backyard, you want it to come, what you can do is you can say come and squat down. Yeah. Your body, upper body is vertical. Don't bend over.
Yeah.
And clap your hands, and the dog will come. If the dog is not coming at that situation, she's not coming.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. So that's another one, the squatting. So if you want the dog to come, let's say I see strange dog who is got away from his owner,
Yeah.
and he's about to walk across a busy street, and I want to help the owner to catch the dog. So I squat down,
Yeah.
and I clap the hands, and that's usually help the dog to come to me, right? So squatting is invitation, and again, when you're squatting, say come, or whatever language you're using, whatever I have here. Another good thing is to induce the oxytocin and all that. When I sit on couch and watching TV, and dog is next to me, and I say come and pet the dog, come pet the dog, come pet the dog. I do it for half an hour, and I'm basically conditioning the dog to get the happy hormone, the oxytocin, and all that on
With
come,
the voice,
right?
yeah.
While I'm watching TV, dog is already there. So he's not really coming.
Yeah.
So you say, well, why am I doing it? Well, I'm doing it because I want the dog to get conditioned that after comes happy hormone, just like when Pavlov rang the bell, the dog would salivate, right? Instead of salivation, we are
Same concept.
inducing
Yeah.
oxytocin
Yeah.
hormone, which is bonding hormone.
Yeah.
All right. And then what else? During feeding time, you know, I don't say puppy, puppy, puppy or some stupid stuff like people do.
Yeah.
I say kemye, 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 and then I give them food,
Which means come here. Yeah.
right? Okay, so in other words, what I'm doing, I'm hitting the come command from many different angles,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So every time, and the dog is already eating, and I'm standing above it, and I say kemye, kemye, come.
Yeah.
You know, dog is there. It's not about them to coming, but I want them to be conditioned. Oh, come means food, right?
Yeah.
You know, so I better come,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And it's
So you're layering it on, kind of.
yeah, I'm
as the dog
layering it
gets-
out. You know, it's not coming because he gets treat, like with the training drive, but it's partially like that. I'm not necessarily totally against that, but I gotta feed the dog, right?
Yeah.
So why not just to use it for
Use it.
something beneficial?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
so when I feed the dog, I say Kimya, and all the puppies are running.
Yeah.
Right. They're coming to me. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then a buggy whip, you know, the flirt pole.
Flirt
you know.
pole, yeah.
You know, you know, we have a video on flirt pole, right?
we do.
Okay, for sale. All right, so you use flirt pole and puppies chasing flirt pole, and while I'm flicking the flirt that object on the flirt pole 4, 5, 6 inches above the ground, and puppy is getting crazy trying to catch it, I'm saying what? Come,
Yeah.
come,
Yeah.
right? Okay, and puppy, oh, we're gonna play, oh, you know, come. Again,
You're tying the come command with all
right.
these other
So I'm
things.
using the come command with all sorts of things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We can go and, let's say, jump across the creek, and the puppy is all like worried, right? That again goes to the anxiety, separation anxiety, right? I walk across the shallow creek, and the puppy, oh, water, oh my God! So you do two things. You teach the puppy to not to be scared of water, and also you're calling it to come, and you keep walking. Just keep walking. Puppy screams his head off, running up and down to the shore,
Yeah.
over the creek and all that. It's a great exercise. Finally, puppy jumps in the water, and oh shit, you know, and got his head out in the water. It's so scared and coming, and then it makes it on the other side of the creek, and I squat down and I clap my hands. I say, Kimye, come.
Yeah.
And the puppy's coming, and oh God, Daddy, where did you go?
Yeah.
And I keep petting it, and I say, good, puppy, good, Fifi.
Yeah. So it did also like the courage to get across the water.
Right, yeah,
So
to
it
build
kinda-
the courage. And you can do different obstacles. You can make little walls, you know, or you can put a pallet. You know,
Yeah, they don't like the pallets.
They don't like the pallets, you know, and the dog cannot come to you any other way except go across these obstacles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
In when we did search and rescue, we would do it. We would do it across the talus, you know, like bunch of like a rock field under the mountain. You know, and dog has to walk over. I say, come, and okay, I'm coming.
Oh, I see. To train the dog. that
Yeah,
it's a-
and we teach them in search and rescue to be okay with debris like that,
yeah,
you know?
got it.
Okay. Or another thing is you can be on the other side of the chain link fence, right? So you put the puppy on or dog on the other side of the chain link fence and call it, come, and the dog cannot go through.
Yeah,
So again, you're building the anxiety, the separation anxiety to come on command, come.
yeah,
All right, it's very important. You don't want to build separation anxiety just because you left.
yeah. On your voice command.
It's
That's
because
it.
I said so.
Yeah, yeah.
Now it kicks in. Just like Pavlov rings the bell and the dog starts salivating. I don't ring the bell. I say, come.
Yeah,
And the dog doesn't salivate but secretes oxytocin.
yeah.
Okay? That's it.